let's say, knock on wood, we're not, but if you're still in, you will reject from here. And then the next obvious point of interest would be where the range value area high is, which is around 108.5, let's call it now. So a lot of confluence in that area. But an expansion, a range expansion, which would let's say push us. The last one was this was a 2 month range. Let's compare it. This was almost a 2 month range, the one from 73 to 90k, and its expansion has put a 20% move on Bitcoin. Let's say if this expansion puts a 20% move on Bitcoin, you're in 130s, 128. So that would be like some range expansion targets compared to the last one. Some people use fibs. Well, it doesn't really matter because it would be price discovery anyways. So who knows? But yeah, 4 hour. Let's see, 4 hour trend, weekly open, some naked points of control around 109. 4 hour green support trend line now went up to 109 also, 108.9. So I would try to get something from, let's say, 109.6 to 108.3, anywhere around there. If I will be awake, maybe we get, but it needs to be a very sharp pullback and then continue with a new high. That would probably fill majority of people's limits on altcoins if that happens. Like if everybody's looking at 2700 or close to it, that's like the obvious one. You have a limit, right, GD?
Yeah.
20.
I really
you
want to
have
get long on Eve, because like if you look at, did you see the ETF inflows yesterday? They were basically equal at 200 million.
Yeah, it's been pretty consistent, let's call it. Let's see a little bit of ETF Ethereum.
Type in far side.
Yeah, far side has it for. Let's see a bit.
If you compare it to BT, like yesterday was insane. It was 211 for ETH and 215 for BTC.
111, yeah, it ramped up a bit. Well, we have the last 2 weeks. 170, 60, 70, 30, 40, 148, 211. This is the highest in the last 2 weeks. So let's compare it with Bitcoin. Bitcoin had some nice flows last week. Also, I think in the beginning of this week, 3rd of July. When was 3rd of July? Last week. Oh man, these Temu ads, they're killing me. So they're everywhere, man. They want to take over the country. I don't know. 200 million from Monday, 7th of July. Yeah. 200 million, 80 million, 200 million again yesterday. Yeah, so it calmed down a bit compared to the 600, 400s, 500s. But interesting, yeah, to see 200 million on Ethereum with 200 million on Bitcoin. It's the first time, I think. Because in the beginning...
Like in a long while for it to be
Yeah,
that.
in a long while, yeah. In the beginning, Bitcoin was getting like 500, 400 million consistently.
Bitcoin always had $1 billion days, but for ETH to get 200 mil in a summer in July, whilst BTC is trading at all-time high and only getting 200 mil. Like BTC has broken all-time high with an ETF inflow of 200 mil, whereas before we'd need, $1 billion ETF inflows. Shows the appetite that people are wanting to chase ETH more because BTC is already at all-time high and might look too expensive, and people want to chase the next best thing.
Yeah, also a lot of people are short, man. You saw the guy. What was his name? I forgot. His on Hyperliquid. He round tripped to 24 million PNL. So the profit was 24 million ETH short. And in the move from yesterday, he round tripped and went into a loss. Hit stop loss at minus 700k. Now imagine you round trip
Wow.
24 million and
Yeah.
then you lose 700k extra and go into a drawdown. It's like crazy. If we can look at these, like the liquidations in the last 24 hours, majority of them are they're not big, but still, um, you have 200 million of short liquidations on Bitcoin in comparison with 10 million of long liquidations. I mean, you have 20 times more short liquidations than longs on Bitcoin in the last 24 hours. That's crazy.
Mm.
I mean, that's actually crazy. I was looking yesterday also until I fell asleep. Like the bearish liquidations, even today, which nothing happened since like last night. Look at these. Everybody can see these spikes of bear liquidations. I don't know. People are just fading the all-time high liquidity grab, let's call it, and they're fading it to roll over. A lot of bearishness, which is feeding this move up, which is I remember the one in 2020 when Bitcoin was around 17, 18k, whatever was the all-time high back then, and Sailor started buying it up. And
Hmm.
I remember a lot of people were just fading that whole leg up from 17, 18 to 25, 30. I don't know how big was that whole leg up, but there were a lot of shorts and non-stop being liquidated in that whole move up. That's from my point of view, that's nothing worse than getting like you're actually going to price discovery and you're net short. I mean, you can hedge. It's okay to hedge, but I'll, it's kind of hard. So I don't want to fade this
Yeah.
yet. I mean, the fade will be easy. Let's say, for example, the worst case scenario on Bitcoin. The fade will be easy if we're going back under value area high, and basically you're doing this like this, and you're doing lower highs consistently under value area high. That's why it's so easy to long 109, 108k. Because anything under 108.5 and then bleeding down, basically you're back into the old value area. And then the next one would be 105, the point of control, and then value area low at 102. So it's if all of this proves to be a deviation by I don't know why, but let's say, then basically the range for the summer would be 102 in or 100k to 110 again. So you're back into this old range. I'm not saying it will happen, but there is a possibility, same as it was here or here,
Yeah.
where you rejected. So every in these last two moments, you rejected clearly off of value area high, and then you went for the external liquidity grab under the value area low. So it's very easy to hold your trade, JD, and just go for the
You don't want
expansion
to
trade.
overtrade it. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't really. Maybe you can even add. I mean, if you see this, and going full crazy again, another leg up, you can add back the position if
Yeah.
you really want to be greedy, because this is the next leg up. If it goes above 112.3, and the ETH has I mean, I don't even want to look at the ETH BTC chart, which is so low, it's actually crazy. Even last time I charted it, we were here. And we went down on ETH
Yeah.
BTC another 50%. So I didn't even chart it after this because I said, man, if it goes under 0.3, I don't even care anymore.
Hello? Let me rejoin. I think I've lost. Hello? I can't hear more diet. Might be me. We lost Dieter. Can you guys hear me? Okay, you can hear JD. Okay. Okay, can you hear Diet? No Diet. Okay, yeah, I can't hear Diet either. I can see his thing go green. Um, but can't hear him. I can see the screen, yeah. We can see the screen. Um, can you hear me? Yes, JD. Diet, yes. JD, no. Oh my gosh, what the fuck is this? No, sound is bad. JD, yours is fine. Oh, JD, Diet. All right. Well, we'll give it a sec for him to sort it out. Um, I still can't hear Diet. It says that he's talking apparently on Discord. But his thing, like, I'm not hearing any sound from him. But anyways, hello for the first time. Maybe reconnect. Let me leave and then rejoin. Hello. Okay, I'm gonna restart again. JD, fine. All right, I fully restarted. Oh, I can't hear him. Okay, let's do hang out.
The matchmaking system or their whatever algo they're using on Hyperliquid or stuff like that, they are forced to market buy. This is the best scenario where price is grinding up and every leg up gets more short squeezed because that's basically those shorts are like putting on, I don't know, gasoline on a fire to create an explosion. So it's always good to have that extra push higher coming from the short liquidations that are actually market buys. The same as in a downtrend, the long liquidations are market sells. This creates these kind of aggressive movements to the upside. The difference is that usually in a short liquidation scenario, especially on altcoins, the short liquidations are usually more aggressive than the long liquidations because more people are inclined to long, and you have a lot of people that are, for example, limiting in with spot trades or stuff like that when you're in a downtrend. But where you're in a consistent uptrend and you have people counter trend shorting, those people most of the time they aren't actually people that are taking profits from their spot bags. They are actually people that are hedging their spot bags with some shorts, or people that are bearish bias at range highs, for example, which is normal. And then they're being aggressive with their shorts. And of course, you are counter trend, which means that you have a less chance overall for success in your trading. Because again, looking at Bitcoin here, if it would have been a look at how the weekly looks, man. This is actually crazy. This is like the if this weekly candle closes above 112, 113, it will be the highest weekly candle closed with the candle body green since yeah, since this close here with the candle body green since December 24. So if you would have seen this on a 1 hour time frame, this setup, and this is Bitcoin on the weekly, you would say, ah man, I'm going to buy a retest somewhere because this is a range breakout to new highs. Very similar, very, very similar, but to a lesser degree because we had this was the Trump. We had we had 250 days of a range. Trump got elected, and you had a 50% move. Now you're looking at a 60-day range, of like an accumulation range into new all-time highs. So I am not bearish biased at all. At all. No, look, now we're creating a higher high on the 4 hour, new all-time high again. Oh
Mm.
wow, coming from
We just
Coinbase.
ripped. Fucking
We
hell.
ripped, man. Wow, hype. I need to update this.
Yes, let's go. I'm up 4% on hype.
Bear with me a bit. Yeah, I'm 4% up also. 3.9 something. It's good. I want to TP around 44 then 46, but
Yeah, let me see what it says. Yeah, I wanted a TP 46. That's my swing trade.
46. I think that's a good trade. 46. Partial at 44, so we still have some room. Let me update.
Great fucking market.
Oh man, I didn't get filled on Fartcoin when I got filled on hype, but it's okay. It's okay. Not bad for a day's work.
ETH's gonna rip, man. People are shorting ETH.
Yeah. And it held 2760. I wanted a pullback to get longer on 27 or something on ETH, but
Good shit, mate. Oh, Floki's
yeah,
kind of
moving. Floki, you're still long on that.
yeah. I just want it like a swing trade altcoin. I was discussing, bro. Look at this ENA chart. I think ENA is gonna absolutely rip. I should have called it, but I called hype today and Floki as well. I should have called it ENA as well. I charted this yesterday on stream with Bryce, but it looks absolutely nutty. Copy chart. Where's the chat and hang out right here? Look at that.
Let me just search in the chat. It's so it has been so underperforming, but yeah, I mean, I could understand what you're saying here, because basically you had a break of structure on the daily here. It was in this range, so you shouldn't go back under 25. What is this? 12%. For spot, it doesn't really matter, but we can try something here, JD.
On
If you
ENA,
really want to call, if you really want to call, I hate. Well, no. Where do we invalidate? 26.
it's already up like 4% from last night when I was charting it. Yeah, like a 10-12% stop loss. But I think you could easily get like a 40% move on this. If ETH goes to 3K, man, like shit is gonna go rip hard. But yeah, I'm
I,
down to do a collab call if you want.
I have a very bad experiences with Ina, man. Very, very, very bad. Basically, it wasn't. It wasn't. I was. I needed to cut the trades like 3 times. It didn't, and I would have been stopped 3 times if I haven't cut. You can call it.
Mm.
I'm not calling this. You can call it with Bryce if you want, but I can see it why you're saying, because also you're above previous week high here. Weekly breakout. I mean, from this range, it has been raging since. 20 days. Ah, yeah, this Bitcoin liquidity is short 3.7 million on Binance. Yeah, look at it go, man. This is like 2020. A lot of short liquidations on Bybit also. OKX.
Flip of 112 and it's going to go straight to 120.
I don't know if straight to 120, but
Straight
it's
as in
good
like
anyway, man.
you're not gonna get a pullback like back to like 105 or 1718. Like it's gonna go to
No, no,
120.
no.
It's
From now
gonna go
on,
to 120 and
the
like
yeah.
I would put my balls on the line. Well, not balls on the line, but
Don't
I would
no,
say we've
never,
hit.
never, never put the balls, man. We're having $100 Coinbase premium now between Coinbase and Binance Spot. This is Taylor, man.
Yeah, I'd say we hit 120 by end of this month.
And July 120. Okay.
That's only a 6% move, 6.5% move. Like that's like a daily candle you could argue for, but yeah, by the end of this
Ah,
month it
yeah,
should be
yeah,
there.
yeah. Okay, okay, okay. Fair enough. Well, from now on,
Now the moves don't sound that much. Like 112 to 120 is only 6%, but you're thinking it's going to be like a 20% move.
yeah, exactly. But it's only 6%. Well, now, in any shape or form, you don't go under 107 from this. I mean, now it's actually you have a low time frame rally base. This is the next base.
Mm.
Yeah, okay. Any pullback, guys. Any pullback, guys. Today, tomorrow, we will get another long going next to what we already have. Oh man, ETH, man, I want it closer to 27 at least somehow to have some kind of invalidation. This didn't put in a higher high yet. ETH. 1 hour green support lines at 27.30 now. I'm going to put some alerts here. And I will ignore the 26. So I will ignore this fair value gap. I will leave it here, but I will ignore it. If I want to be aggressive, this will not get filled or it will get partially filled. What's the drop here? 3%. Okay. Fair enough. Let's see. Let's see what we will get. Farcoin going also. I needed an extra like 2% today to get filled on Farcoin. I would have been up like 5-6%, but it is what it is. What other coins are you looking at, JD? Bis-
Hype BT. Oh, I really like XRP, man. Look at the XRP BTC chart. I posted about it. I think XRP is
Man,
going to pull a not move.
I can't look at another XRP chart today. Everybody's
So
just
everyone's
showing
been doing.
the same XRP chart. I cannot handle another
Yeah.
one today. I get the point. I agree. It's okay. You just need to get an entry if you haven't already. Uh, the thing with XRP is that you remember even in the past, even when it was like crazy bullish, besides the news part when it didn't get the pullback, but you always had some
Mm.
kind of 1 hour week or 4 hour week, somewhere in between on XRP. Oh man, it's up only. It didn't even retest the 1 hour.
Yeah.
2.36, 2.35, but even 2.38. Fuck man. Weekly on the USD pair doesn't look like something. It's in a range. Daily looks a little bit better. Let's see, what do we have? What is this? 235. Yeah, basically 235, 238. Do you have a fair value gap here? Yes. Now, if by any shape or form you get back here with a daily fair value gap and some Some 1 day and 2 day and 1 day and 2 day naked points of control here. So 238 into 234. Let's see where is the 4 hour trend. Green super trend is 235. Yeah. So I'm just going to put alerts from 238 into 234. If I see a 4 hour green super trend line being touched with this daily fair value gap being ticked a bit, just even if it's a wick to 237. It's like a 2% DCA range to fill the fair value gap, and then you have a stop loss at 227, something like that, even lower, 224. And you're looking at, I'm guessing, 2.6. This is the first big big
Yeah,
daily
but I think
target.
if once it flips that, it's
And
going straight
then
to $3. Yeah.
and then $3, and this is it. So these are the daily buy sell liquidity targets on like the earliest, these equal highs and these equal highs here. I can call them equal highs, but not the big one, not really. And this is the big supply here from where we dropped basically all of this. This is like Bitcoin at 110, which we grind it through. This is the equivalent of that. So where's the supply? A big. I think on the weekly it was this inverted hammer here. So if you're playing the daily and you're bullish on XRP, yes, around $3 is the like where you should take some profits if you're already in.
Mm.
We will catch an X. I believe we will catch an XRP trade, a pullback,
But
even if
I
it's a
have
1 hour
to.
pullback.
I have to.
The standard, man, the standard. The standard has to be kept.
Like it's I've not caught an XRP move in so fucking long. Like the entire move from like 60 cents to $3, like I completely faded it the entire move up. Like July was shilling it to me every day. Even like Donald, everyone on Twitter, I just
Yeah, but I mean, I paid you that also. I traded above $2. I traded above $2. We
mm.
traded last year, I remember here above $2, but all of this, yeah, that was crazy. Well, anyways, we have some kind of plan here for XRP 238, 239, 233. I mean, if you want to get some spot exposure, it's under a 3% daily imbalance here. Easily you can get that filled if we pull back somehow, sometime, I don't know. Yeah, what other coins? ETH. Basically, I mean, from here on, if you don't have some kind of major exposure, like these 4 hour, 1 hour pullbacks, you can leverage scalp ETH, Bitcoin, XRP. Sol is a little bit, I think, underperforming them. Sui, look at Sui, man, it's 3.3. That's basically back into this smaller range here. Let's put some Sui at 3.15 to 3.08, some alerts. That would be like this range reclaim confirmation on Sui. To put some alerts just for me to know if they hit. And leave this here as an idea. Because I put a lot of alerts and then I don't even know why did I put that alert, and if I need to quickly execute, let's say this something happens during the night and I wake up at 4 a.m. and I don't even know I have like 20 alerts, 50 alerts that were hit. What too long?
Mm.
I need to. That's why I always leave this and put like an arrow, just for my decision making while being asleep, to be
You
better.
can just when you just put the note, like I just always put note like 4 hour breakout or like trend line broke or SFP, like when you set the alert you can
Yeah, like
yeah.
here.
Yeah. Mm.
Notification, not message. Yeah, fair enough. It's hype going. Yeah, see how the short liquidation cluster still continues. So this is what we like to see. We will reach 44. I mean, it's like a 3% from here.
$50, mate. $50 fucking, mate. That's what
And
I
then
want.
46, $50, whatever. Price discovery, I think
$46.
46, above 46 was his price discovery, right? 45.9.
Yeah. 45.8.
I mean, look at this setup, man. This was Pico. This today, I mean, a few hours ago. On the 1 hour. Basically filled this week here. In this week, this is. Yeah, I mean, logically, you're looking at 45, 46, no matter what. And then if you believe for price discovery to hold apart, from 46 you have like 7 more, 8% more into 50s. And that's basically the prophecy of everybody. Get the $50 hype.
Mm.
Very interesting for me is that this imbalance here from 30 to 28 was left alone. 1, 2, 3 times. You know, we talked about, I mean, everybody talked about this. From 30 to 28 is the spot load up zone, like the big one. And it left the imbalance there before this move up. So $30 was protected. Now, if anything happens and comes down there, this is no longer a valid trade. So this imbalance doesn't interest me. If it gets filled on the way down, the idea was to get filled as a retest before another run into all-time high. But it's okay. Let's see a little bit the hyperliquid liquidations from the API. The first major short liquidations are at 114, 1.3k Bitcoin. Let me just reload to see if they disappeared or maybe they closed the shorts and they disappeared. Or they added and it went up. Let's see a bit. Yeah, okay. So the last ones were around 114. Big ones 1.3k, 1.1k at 117, and then 118. Yeah, hype will just keep going. Shorts continue to get. See how price is moving up in a breakout and the open interest is going down. These are even more shorts closing or getting
Yeah. And then
liquidated.
people are gonna pile on longs once we get closer
Yeah,
to 44, 45. Give us the breakout to 50, and then we dump on them.
exactly. So, like, now you want to see somehow this open interest start going up with price continuing to go up because that fuels the trend. So that fuels like fresh new longs opening, supporting the price, and so on. Until then, they are just shorts closing. Of course, some longs getting open, but majority are more aggressive shorts closing, which is good. I mean, if you can go in this manner up into 44, and then people are just going to break out long into the 50s or for the 50s. I'm just going to take profit in that momentum, and oh man, let me check out the chat. Did somebody say anything now?
I don't fucking like the chat is so hard to open for me on like every time I click like Hangout, it just shows the screen.
Yeah, it's very small for me on Windows.
Yeah,
Very
someone
very
just
small.
yeah, I'm on my MacBook, so like I literally have no screen real estate, but no one said anything in 14 minutes according to my chat.
Yeah, same. Which is weird, but
Because
Anyways,
everyone's probably just watching charts and watching the 1 minute BTC all time
yeah,
high break.
watching these bears getting liquidated
Yeah,
in real time. There's nothing better than to see bears getting liquidated into all-time highs. And I don't want anyone to lose, but this is the game that we're playing. So
yeah. You're now that we've like, if we can now hold value above 112k, you can now move your invalidation from 110k to 112k. So you can just literally um scale it up all the way. Um, and that's the beauty of riding a BTC all-time high breakout, because every time we get a bet like a rally base kind of move,
yeah,
and like 112k is like the second um the 2024 standard deviation to um from the all-time high that we had last year. Um, so like that's what we based the view apps off as well. You can use standard deviation 1, 2, and 3, like it's similar to what people you do with fibs. But yeah, you can now use that as your validation.
I understood exactly what you said, but I don't have VWAP on, so
Yeah,
I haven't used VWAP in a long time in TradingView. But mostly I mean, the same thing. No, man, hype, just go. I put my stop loss at entry. Yeah, I don't.
it's just the PA now is just going to get really choppy and aids with people piling on leverage, and you get those mini flushes and then reversals. But
Those are the best. Those are the mini flushes are the best. Give me something like
yeah,
2700 ETH or something, and 2690, 2680. Wow, that would be great. But it should be a wick, just a very, very. So basically, on the 1 hour, I would like to see something very similar to this on hype than this is on the 5 minute.
mm,
Basically, this on the 1 hour. When you see this in an uptrend, an aggressive uptrend, and this feels like a 1 hour fair value gap imbalance, or it touches the 1 hour demand, and you see this, that's like a very easy long if you didn't get filled. Or or better, if you want confirmation, on the 5 minute after you see a wick like this, you need to see the 5 minute break of structure, like here, to have like a textbook perfect example of what's this bullish Quasimodo, or how is it called? Over under.
I can oh, over on the what's the matter?
Yeah. When I see this, for example, if let's say this is Bitcoin on the 1 hour and you get this, and maybe you weren't awake too long after this hammer candle, and you got this breaker structure, more often than not, you get at least some kind of a retest in this breaker. The over under setup would be this here, so the retest would be like this. But in crypto, you rarely get that because people are more aggressive front running and trying to get in a position, but you get like a little breaker setup here. If you don't know what that breaker setup is, it's a supply that got ran through and now it becomes demand. So usually if you have a breaker in line with some kind of a medium time frame imbalance, so this little shallow pullback fills the imbalance and ties up with the breaker. That's very, very easy setup to play in uptrends. You basically wait for things to go down on the 1 hour or 50 minute or 30 minute or whatever you're trading, and then wait for the break of structure and start scaling in. This is probably, I didn't know it at the time. A lot of people call it differently. It doesn't really matter. This was in 2021. Basically, I just did this for months at end. Just this. I didn't because 2021 was so bullish. I said, man, I'm not even trying to short or learn how to short better, as in have better sync. I don't care. I'm just going to leverage scalp this kind of setup after the break of structure here. People call it reclaim, whatever, doesn't really matter. And just add to spot every time I see this to an existing spot. Where could we see Ethereum realistically? Let's say if it goes above 3K, you
I think
think
it
you
might
would?
SFP, like you know that high at 2870. I think
Yeah,
it might
this one.
SFP that, yeah, and then maybe go back to 2.7, and then you get the leg up to 3.2.
Yeah, in any shape or form, 2.7 will be important. Uh, I would have liked to get 2.7 before the SFP here, because at least you have that trade, which would have been what
Yeah, so like
7%.
I think yeah, I think everyone wanted that trade, didn't get it, and then you get it, see it break above the highs, and then everyone's like, okay, fuck it, I waited last time. Let me just mark it in here at 2.9 and trade 2.9 to 3.2, and then you get the pullback from 2.9 to 2.7. Fuck all those FOMO longers over, and then you get the move from 2.7 to 3.2 in one go.
Yeah, it's very possible. Seen it in the past. Same scenario. Okay, you're still in a range, but like same scenario here in a range. This can happen
Yeah,
anytime, even now, happen the same. And then you have this scenario where you thought it will happen and it just dropped
yeah.
straight through. Okay, conditions were a little bit different here, but same logic in two scenarios. One played out well, the other one didn't. But again, considering the inflows, if it will continue with Ethereum, I mean, I don't even need 200, but if you see like continuously 100, 60, 150, 200, anything just to continue, people will pile in on shorts, and we can get the Ethereum squeeze. Anyways, if you don't really just you have the free flex trend indicator, just doesn't even matter what you want to trade with whatever coins. If you see 1 hour pullbacks on strong coins that you want, or 4 hour pullbacks, like the first, so for example on Ethereum, since we broke out here from 2600, we didn't have a 4 hour green super trend line pullback or 4 hour trend band pullback. So the first pullback you always bid it with a wider stop loss. The first pullback here, you had the first pullback, but you didn't have the break of structure yet. Now this is the first pullback with a break of structure and above value area high. So wherever that will be, it doesn't matter. This will go up in time into tomorrow. Maybe even get into this fair value gap here, and we get the Friday pullback into, I don't know, 2700. You bid that if you want to have exposure on anything. 1 hour and 4 hour. This is what I did on Hype today. On Farcoin, it didn't play out. Didn't go as deep. I always beat the 1 hour test, first retest, and then if that fails, I'm looking at the 4 hour first retest. And after that, sometimes you can get that second retest. It's the same if you use VWAP and you're in an uptrend and VWAP is going up. The first retest of it is always good to bid.
They really tried to psych us out on that weekend when they moved those like at 11 billion Bitcoin, and then they gave us the perfect dump to get long on a holiday weekend.
Man, that was
Like,
crazy.
oh,
And realistically, so when I saw those equal lows there at 107.5, I said, man, it was clear that those were just like those transfers were bogus. It was clear.
hmm.
because even on Monday there wasn't any kind of selling, like aggressive selling. But I was like, man, come on, you do not leave those equal lows there on a weekend. I mean, you had that 4 hour imbalance under it. I would have gotten really really heavy long. That was the bias into 106,
Mm.
105. But this is now realistically looking at things from the past years of experiencing this kind of scenarios. This is what the Bitcoin does when it's actually bullish. Did the same in the 40 to 60K range. Just leaves those equal lows behind, and then you don't get like maybe you get a 4 hour pullback, but you don't get a daily pullback or like the picture perfect pullback.
Yeah.
Always gets absorbed and front run. And we have seen this front running going even last week into 108K. You remember how much it held 108K, man? I was like, what the actual, like this here. After the first 107, you had this here. I was like, man, who is buying? Then again, who is actually buying here when the imbalance was all of this here?
Mm.
But again, people
It's changed,
were
yeah.
getting involved. Yeah,
Yeah.
people were absorbing, and the same with ETH. To be honest, this 2500 one was really good. This one, and then it just up only. We will get something similar somewhere down the line, but again, I would have wanted to get it closer to 2700 before taking out 2890, 2880, whatever this is here. But it's hard for me to chase really because not chasing has gotten me out of so much trouble. I mean, from chasing, I mean top blessing ETH here at 2800. I cannot do that. Every time I do that, I just get hurt. So,
Just get what? Fucked? What'd you say?
hurt, yeah,
I get hurt.
yeah. So, years on end, I was getting more hurt FOMOing than actually waiting. And like, for
Mm.
example, waiting for a pullback and then I was getting stopped on that trade, but at least that risk was managed in a pullback. But with FOMO, you don't know because you FOMO, you get stopped. Your stop was actually the correct entry, then you long again. It's a little bit hard when you don't,
Mm.
when you're forcing trades a bit. I think in the past 2.5 years, not FOMOing was basically what made me very consistent compared to 4 years ago or 3 years ago, for example. But I
Yeah.
think it has to do a lot even with the style. Like if you like to play it aggressive and oversize or over risk, and when the conditions, when you know how to see the aggressive conditions and you go with it, then you can make a lot of money very fast
Yeah.
because basically you don't get pullbacks. So that's why I like the scaling in part.
Yeah, like you can buy like
Uh,
25% just to have
yeah,
some exposure and then you can double down. And then once you have the 25% in, you feel the PA throughout the day watching the position, like subconsciously, like when you see it fluctuate up and down compared to like if you have other positions going on, which I really like. Like a lot of the top traders do that, having like a runner on or like a starter position or have like a, instead of adding a coin to a watch list, they'll buy like $100 off the coin and then they can see the P&L fluctuation and use that to interpret the PA throughout the day. Like let's say you're long BTC on like a proper trade, and then you long like an altcoin like SPX or Fartcoin, and then you compare how that PNL of SPX and Fartcoin compares to the BTC PNL, and then you can subconsciously infer whether a coin is strong compared to BTC or not, rather than looking at the direct, SPX BTC chart, Fartcoin BTC chart. So yeah,
people in the stock market. trade with this. It's called what you described,
Mm.
progressive. How is it? Progressive sizing or progressive entries or something like that, and they do the similar on the way out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, for example, I don't know, you hit 117, you take 25% off. It's basically the partial profits, but there is a name. I forgot the exact something with progressive exposure, progressive something with progressive. As in, there is a name and there is an actual strategy. Strategy meaning that you have T-based execution on this kind of rally-based rally type of stuff or EMAs. Uh, let's say, let me give you an example. As JD said, you have on the 4 hour, I think you can see it better with Bitcoin. Yeah, on the 4 hour, you have this first 4 hour retest. You had 25% of the position. It goes in your favor. You didn't get the retest here, but let's say you get the retest. You would have gotten the retest here at today at 109K. You would have gotten in maybe 50% of the position. The fact that you added 25 of the position here helps you a lot with the execution, because now you don't feel FOMO as much, because at least your mind knows that you have some skin in the game than to not have anything. Now, if you have trouble with FOMO, you can calm yourself down even more. But let's say, for example, you want to, I don't know, long Bitcoin and Ethereum, but you're not really sure, you don't have the nice setup played in to play it, but you want to have some exposure. Why put a full 100% positions on each? Just put 25% on each, and you're putting in 50% of a position size split into two. If you hit stop loss, so be it. I mean, that's nothing. That's nothing compared to oversizing. But if you're correct and you catch the beginning of a breakout or a trend, you will have time to get at least another partial position in. Of course, it moves your average a little bit higher, but basically having the um a better mindset where you can see the price action more objectively rather than being panicked. You're being panicked because you executed with high size or normal size a setup that you weren't confident in, you weren't convinced in, because you didn't get the
Mm-hmm.
all of the triggers that you wanted. So that 25, a lot of time I do have risk when you see like, that means 50, 0.5 R. Or where I don't know how much this on altcoins. We all know this. You don't know. You don't get the nice entry on altcoins if it's bullish. So you need to scale in somewhere. Maybe you sacrifice and you go in only half of position with like a 2% higher than you would normally do, just to have something. And if it fully fills, it fully fills. That's great. But if not, at least you have something, because with altcoins you can have those 10-20% runners in a day. So even half risk, even having a quarter or half a risk in that and catching a 20% move will outweigh anything compared to trying to get the great entry on an altcoin. It's more prominent with altcoins, this kind of scaling in stuff. We all do it anyways in
Mm-hmm.
spot or hype is looking okay. And Bitcoin will close this 4 hour in 1 hour closed. 4 hour in 3 hours. Yeah, so the 1 hour closed like this. This is crazy. That's good. And look at
I
the
think we're
5 minute.
going.
Will rip.
Right.
Yeah, look at the 5 minute trying to push up. We might rip the same as we ripped last night. I was half asleep here. How much was this? 2%, 2.5%. 2.4%. What is this move? 1%. 2.4 would be 114 today. I mean, before daily close, that would be the highest daily close ever. Look at the buys coming in on spot, man. This is crazy. Look at this. Bears and big bearish positions getting liquidated.
Good stuff. What I like to see.
This is really what you would like to see in all-time high breaks. Should we close the stream, JD?
Yeah, I'm happy. I think
Let's see.
everyone
Is
probably
anyone
wants
after
to.
us?
Everyone probably wants to go enjoy the all-time high breakout. I'm watching bears get taken up back.
Yeah, also watch out for a lot of altcoin breakouts, the ones that didn't push yet in this move. Probably some short squeeze going on there also. So yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you everyone for coming. Hope you guys found it useful. As per usual, feel free to message us if you have any questions. We'll see you guys next week.
See you. Bye bye.